Thank God. Up, up and away in a beautiful, beautiful balloon. I had to do something bad. I had to lie to get here. If I don't get the word out all morning, I just wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote, and I did some stuff that I had to do, and the foreman, like the god of the place, comes up to me and tells me everything I'm doing wrong, but everything I was doing right. All I was writing about is the way creation happened and the way I saw it. Up, up and away in a beautiful balloon. Okay, I'm just going to go to the Wizard of Oz right now to start with that. And in the region of St. Hubert, here in Quebec, they have a big balloon festival. So up in a balloon were all the chickens, okay, coming back down from Dorothy's ride in the balloon. Now I'm going to talk about the animals and Dorothy's ride in the balloon, along with the Yellow Brick Road, in which the Yellow Brick Road from Kansas, although the mountains were on one side, she doesn't want to go over the mountains, does she? Into California. Is the Yellow Brick Road going east, or is the Yellow Brick Road going west? I don't remember. She killed the Wicked Witch of the West. She was going to the east. Is that what it is? I really wish I remembered, because if she goes to the east, okay, and she's on Highway 70 and Highway 35, to go to the east means on the angles of God, because God always goes on an angle, okay? And you're not going to the south. You're going to the north, because God is north. So when you go east-north from Kansas City, you hit Chicago. In Chicago, the shape design of their state looks like a chicken being hung up. And Chicago is, they say, she's in the car, but the car don't go, because God's not there to operate it. She's only a machine. She is the Tin Man. She wants a heart, because she only beats on the drum of God. Whatever God asks, it's always God, and she wants her own heart. Well, in order to have a heart, art, the eye of art, to see art, the X is in the middle of the brain. In the middle of the brain is the X-Man, the Rain Man, which is the one spirit. She didn't have a one spirit. Okay, she was a two spirit, being run by a one spirit. You see, the one spirit had the two spirit because he was running her. So the Tin Man was her. So now she goes to Detroit, the Motor City. They put a motor in her. Okay, they go over towards Toronto. Okay, it's time out. Okay, everything has to be checked. Why? Because Toronto is a transfer of the organ of God. Then they deliver it up to the Royal Mount, the top of all the mountains, Mount Royal here in Quebec. So when they leave Kansas on Highway 70 and they run up towards Chicago, crossing over the 65 and they're crossing over the 55, there is no 45, and over to Detroit and down towards Toronto, you have Lake Erie. It's so eerie and query because that's a point. If you would make a triangle, Chicago down to where Kansas is, then go down to the bottom and go up, then go 15 or 30 degrees above Kansas, or 35 degrees, and then go 35 degrees below it. I'm not sure what the number is. It could be 45 degrees. It might likely be. But it's stretched out. God made everything stretched out. So I think he bent it down to 22.5 degrees. He stretched out his diamond because you can't go straight up and down. You're losing too much space. We go cross through cities. So what happened on the Yellow Brick Road is she comes down to Mount Royal. Now she has to go into operation. She's the queen bee. Where better to go as a queen bee with 2 points, but down to Boston. In Boston, you have the Boston Bruins. It's a bee and a bee, and if you look inside, it's her nest. And then they go over to New York, because New York is NYR. NYR stands for N is the 14th, equals 5 position. Y is 25, means 7 of God. R is 18, which means 9. We have 5, 7, and 9, just like in roulette. We have 16, and 19 is 35. We have 17 and 20 touching, which is the 7. And then we have the 18 and 21 touching, which is the 9. Now, the Liberty Bell is in Pennsylvania, but for those of you who just speak just words without individualizing the letters, you will know that the Liberty Bell is in jail. Liberty Bell is being held hostage in Pennsylvania. Why would I say that? Well, it's a pen. It's a seal. And it's Vania. It's under watch of the eye. The Sylvania lights is in. So that design, if I show you that design, it's going to be very hard to understand. I always scribble over all my work. Okay, here's Chicago, here's Detroit, here's Toronto, here's Montreal, here's Boston, here's New York, here's Pennsylvania. Take a look at the line, just the line. Maybe I'll darken it in. Do I have a dark pen here? Yes, I do. Hello, Mr. Dark Pen. So I'm going to darken in these lines, this line here. And then I'm going to darken in this line. Look what happens. It's a jack. You see, that's why they have the shape of a chicken in Chicago on their state. Okay, because all jacks go through Chicago. And then you split up to all the other highways. The reason why Kansas City gets all those storms is because they're right next to all those mountains on the other side at the same time in Rubik's Cube. That's the turning point of everything. You ever hear that thing they say it's the turning point? Well, right now what's happening is I've calculated all these highways. Okay, I went down to Roswell. I don't have this down on paper. I'm just thinking right now what I did. So I go down to Roswell, okay, but I continue on the top of Chicago is Highway 80, then there's the 70. Now you get to the same place. I'm thinking where Highway 70 reaches Highway 15, it's Highway 80 reaches Highway 15 down into California. Now let's reverse the roles of the highway, okay? If we go the other way from Chicago, okay, and passage of the 55 highway, we must pass the 55 highway on one side of the Mississippi on the other side. So we either go one way from the 55 or we go the other way in the 55. And the 55 is right where Louisiana is, because Chicago, Louisiana is one point and another point. Whatever is in between, any city that's in between that, use all their names and they're the difference of those two places. But if you want to make it simpler, go to the middle, then find Chicago in the middle, and then find that middle and use that point. And do it at the bottom and use all those states in between to understand the difference of why they use those names in the middle of the area they are in. Because like I said, if it's a capital letter, okay, all capitals are representation of the rest of the word. When you put your initials on something, it means that initial and means the rest of your name. So that initial stands for your name. And because God said we stand for I, okay, so anything that has to do with the I and me can be capitalized, and it means the rest of the story. And in between letters also tell the rest of the story. If you have a word like bear, what's in between the bear is the B and the R. I take out the two vowels because the vowel of the word, okay, is what makes the whole word, okay, because every letter has a vowel in it. Every letter becomes a consonant because a vowel says one. Each vowel is individual. Okay, the Y is a very funny vowel because it doesn't work alone, but it only works with another line of God. It works with a one. God has lines. One line, one line, one line, line. That's it. That's all God's lines. Except he makes them this small, so small they look like a bead because you can't see it. So it looks like a bead. So these highways I was telling you, and this jack, what's happening now is the road from Pennsylvania now must turn around and go through Ohio and up to Chicago. And the reason for that, it ends up making the cancer loop. And you always got to come back home because Dorothy said she wanted to go back home. And this line goes back and goes back home because according to Monopoly, every angle has to connect, and this is an open angle. And it goes through Ohio, which is right next to Indianapolis. The Indianapolis 500 says it's the passage. Okay, so when this goes home, okay, all along these roads, if you really look, Toronto's got massive cornfields. The yellow brick road might just be a cornfield. We found the scarecrow, but he didn't have a brain. He didn't have a brain because he didn't have the one spirit. He was made of straw, and everybody drinks through a straw. But if you look at the three little piggies, okay, one little piggy had a brick house. That was the banker. They had red bricks. Okay, the second little piggy had a wood house, and he used that to create fire for the energy. Okay, and the last house, what do we have? Wood, brick, and straw. So we have wood. It has to do with breathing. Okay, because the wood needs to breathe to start the fire, and the straw is a straw. It's a nose to blow into or suck in, to take in the air of life, or to blow out to create more life by causing wind. Isn't wind one of the 5 elements? You see, those 5 elements are the 5 little pigs. Okay? They become the 5 little pigs. One element recreates another element inside of it, but we're not going to talk about that. So what happens now to the 3 little pigs? They all have 2 knots in their nose, okay? There's 3 pigs, they got 6. The mug and dove has got 6 points. He put their nose on the mug and dove point so nobody gets hurt. And the 3 little pigs have curly tails. It says E, and then goes up like a D. And then the other one goes E, and it goes up like a D. You ever notice the tails on the pigs when the big bad wolf came? Well, let me tell you about the big bad wolf and what he did. He blew more than their house down. Do I have this written here? I don't. No, it's in my mind. Okay, so I'll try to do it just like that. The 3 little pigs had the tails. 1 tail, 2 tails, 3rd tail is creation. That's why man has a tail. Okay, because tails is what, it's at the end of the tail. When the whole tail gets in, you know the story can start. Because you got the whole story. You got the head of the sperm, but if you don't get the tail of the sperm, you ain't going to make a baby. If you crack the egg in 2, well, maybe we will have bacon and eggs. That's why bacon and eggs are so important. That's why they talk about green eggs and ham. If you listen, I am able to tear apart, as long as I don't forget the tool I use, I can tear apart anything and any story. If anybody says a story to me and it's down on paper, all I have to do is take out my pen and I know the whole story. If you tell me a lie, I know the truth, because I know the difference of the words you speak. Now, it won't happen all the time, and I'm not that good yet. I just started in this. The power and the energy is just keep rising and rising like a hot air balloon. And when Dorothy went up in that hot air balloon, she had to look at, was it the straw man? She had to tie was it the lion? I didn't say this. I keep getting them all mixed up, okay? Sorry about that. The hair on the lion is tons of energy, but he's got no courage to go out and use what he has. Okay, because he's got the spirit of 2 of beta. He's got the beta spirit inside him now. He got his wish, the lion, okay? Inside of him is beta. It's the heart. It's a life. So now that tiger has a spirit of beta. That means the tiger is 2. And his area is the jungle, which means 5, because New York is the big apple, and that's 5. So the lion now becomes the king of the jungle, because by having courage and challenging, he becomes odd from everybody. So whoever comes up to him, he will make them individualized between them, and then what will be left over is one-on-one. So we have Dorothy in the yellow brick road, and we have the 2 witches. We had the house that spun into the air. But don't forget, this was all a dream. When she wanted to go home, it was her angel inside her head making up all these things. Who else can make up all these ideas? Not a human being, for sure not. We don't believe in any of this. But when you're in your sleep, it was the angel telling her she can go home. And her way home was through the yellow brick road, which were the cornfields. Is that in Chicago? Is that in Texas? Where are all these cornfields, okay? Is it up in Montana? Okay, I don't know yet, because all the mountains are in Colorado. And when the steam comes out of the ground, I'd say Colorado is home. But, okay, we have to work center to center, which means that's a center point, Dorothy. So now if I go that way, I have to go the other way. So if I go the other way, I get into Detroit, get on Highway 401. The O is the 10 Commandments between 21, okay, between 31 and 40, and 1-3 is creation. 4-0 of the one spirit. Do I have a dice here? It's the 5 dice, 401. It's the 5 dice, and the O is there because we don't know where she's going to stop. She's at 1 and she's at 4. She's got all that in between to stop, so the 0 counts for all the numbers in between. So she's on the 401, and boom, the 401 hits the 40. The 40 is the game of man. The 40 days, the 40 nights, the 40 years, whatever it is. She hits the 40 when she hits Quebec, kiss, and ass. She's hit the tail end of a scissors. When you get to the tail end of the scissors, you come back from Quebec, and you go through the Gaspé. Or you go through the Gaspé, and you get down to Boston, down to New York, down to Pennsylvania, where the Liberty Bell is tied up. From 1776 to 1976, it was the bicentennial. 3-4 months later, I had my bar mitzvah. Okay? I've been scared to death all my life from the age of 7 up to the age of 41. And after that, boom, the minute I got God inside of me, I don't see death anymore the same way it is. It's just a transition that we're all preparing for, and we don't know how. It's all in the mind. Everything is in the mind. The Mayan. Day, month, year. If you take the letters in the alphabet, I know I'm all over the place, I'll go back to Dorothy, but days, months, and year, okay, or you go to the alphabet at Y. Okay, stop the X. Forget about X, what? XY, because X connects to the rest of the alphabet. Y, Z, Y. 25th letter, 26th letter, 27th letter. 7, 8, 9. Why we have the Y at the end? Because when God made this life, he split each way. So when he went one way and he went the other way, he needs something in between. So that Y goes in between the Z, which is the end, and the A, that is the beginning, the alpha omega, and he gets back to the A and start again, A, B, C, in which if you put together month, day, and year,